Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Community Media News. Another newsworthy media news here. Clark County Sheriff, 21-year-old shot, killed by deputies fired first. Alright. Hazeldale, Washington. A man who was killed in a police shooting on Thursday fired a gun at officers first. Clark County Sheriff's Office said on Friday. Family members confirmed to KATU News that Kevin Peterson Jr, 21, was the man killed on Thursday night in the Hazeldale area. The shooting happened around 6 p.m. and a large police presence was visible along Highway 99 north at Northeast 68th Street. The sheriff's office says the local drug task force was conducting a narcotics investigation which eventually led to a pursuit on foot. Sheriff Chuck Atkins said on Friday that deputies were chasing the man with a gun, and upon arriving at a bank parking lot, the man in question reportedly fired at deputies first. When deputies returned fire, the man was killed, the official said on Friday. It is my understanding that the man's firing was observed at the scene, Sheriff Atkins said. The Camas Police Department is leading the investigation. Camas. Washington State Independent Investigation Protocol required that the destination of law enforcement advisation to Mr. Peterson's family. Sheriff Atkins, it is my commitment to participate as much as I can, ensuring that there is a complete, thorough, and independent determination of what happened, how it happened, what can be learned from this incident. Yeah. And that's the man right there. That's Kevin Peterson right there. You can see there are people leaving flowers. You can see right there, right that. Battleground Police Department Chief Mike Ford, the spokesman for the Southwest Washington Independent Investigation Response Team investigating the shooting, said a .40 caliber Glock 23 gun was found near Peterson. In a news release, Ford said deputies and officers from the Regional Drug Task Force office tried to contact man suspected of selling illegal drugs in the parking lot of the Quality Inn Motel. The man was alone in a car and ran away when deputies and officers approached him. Deputies and officers gave chase, but Ford said they backed off when the man produced a handgun. A little later, 3 deputies spotted the man, and all 3 of them fired their handguns. In Ford's account, he did not mention Peterson firing at the deputies. Family members later identified the dead man as Peterson. All 3 deputies were placed on administration leave as standard practice in police shootings. A few dozen protesters gathered in the area after the shooting on Thursday. A vigil is planned in Vancouver Friday evening, and the shooting victim's family tells KATU News that they plan to attend. Here we go. I'll scan it like that. There we go. I'll hold it for like a couple seconds. Practice this scene, yep. And there is a video which we will play right here.
Is that upon entering the parking lot of the bank, the man reportedly fired his weapon at the deputies.
That was Clark County Sheriff Chuck Atkins. He went on to say that deputies fired back, killing 21-year-old Kevin Peterson Jr. His family shared these photos with K2 today, saying this is how they want him remembered. Good evening. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. Still a lot of questions surrounding what happened. And the community is left wondering. K2's Kelly Oz airs live in Hazeldale. What have you learned, Kelly?
Well, as you heard the sheriff say, there are very few.
This is from KATU News, too. Sister station.
Earlier this afternoon that Kevin Peterson was armed at the time of this shooting. Now here, though, at this spot where this happened just last night, a number of people are showing up to bring flowers. As you can see, the memorial is growing. Many of the neighbors that I talked to today tell me that they just can't believe that this happened here. A community wondering what led to the 21-year-old now identified by his family as Kevin Peterson Jr. to be shot and killed by law enforcement Thursday night in Hazeldale.
It's a tough day to have to be standing here in front of you.
Sheriff Chuck Atkins made a short statement Friday about the shooting involving his deputies in the parking lot of this U.S. bank.
Just before 6 p.m. last night, detectives from the Clark Vancouver Drug Task Force were conducting a narcotics investigation in the 6800 block of Northeast Highway 99. A foot pursuit ensued where deputies from the Clark County Sheriff's Office were chasing a man with a firearm. The information I have is that upon entering the parking lot of the bank, the man reportedly fired his weapon at the deputies.
The sheriff says he too has very few details. Camas police are leading an independent investigation as required by law. While Atkins did say he wouldn't be answering any questions, I did ask about demonstrations being talked about in the area. The sheriff says they are preparing for that possibility.
But certainly it is something that we expect, and certainly they have a right, to have a vigil and come over and pay their respects.
All day, those who knew Kevin Peterson and even some who'd never met him showed up to pay their respects, leaving flowers just inches from police markings.
I woke up this morning just super emotional. I never felt this way before.
Daniel Thompson grew up in the area and knew of Peterson, who is better known to his friends as KP. Thompson says having something like this happen is jarring.
It honestly could have been any one of us. Like, I live right up the street. I walk the street every day. And hopefully this just opens everyone's eyes, just like, hey, this is in your community, this is in your backyard.
Now, all day, people have been showing up here at this site in Hazeldale to take a moment to remember Kevin Peterson, and his family is planning to hold a candlelight vigil.
Scream his name, Kevin Peterson Jr., Black Lives Matter.
At 7 o'clock, they're asking everyone who comes to wear a mask, socially distance, and to wear black. Reporting live in Vancouver, Kelly Ozier, K2 News.
All right, Kelly, thank you. In Southwest Washington, Representative Jamie Herrera-Butler released a statement on Twitter today saying, I'm gathering information on the reported police-involved shooting in Hazeldale last night. I urge all of us to maintain peace and nonviolence as we learn about the circumstances surrounding this incident. And Carolyn Long is challenging Herrera-Butler in the election. She also tweeted a statement saying, last night Kevin Peterson Jr. was shot and killed by police in Hazeldale. Southwest Washington must peacefully come together with the goal of equity and equality for every member of our community, as we have for months. Black Lives Matter. This isn't a political statement. It's fact.
It is a fucking fact. It's not a political or politics. It's a known fact. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care of yourself and each other. With that, mic drop. Peace out.